bang to bang, tap and bang. Okay.
We're back.
What's up? Season 3.
Been a bit.
Episode 1.
How art thou?
Fuck titles. Man, how art thou? I mean, today, I feel great. I feel good in my body. A slight injury, as you know. You've gone through a slight injury. I feel hopeful about the future, even though the future is precarious and unpredictable. I feel hopeful, like new pathways can be opened. How about you?
Yeah. I also feel pretty good today. I had like a work hangover a few days ago, and just energy was, and that also like hit the emotional state and just made me feel low and whatever. But hit the hot days of the river, and nature heals all. And yeah, now I feel really settled. I'm liking the kind of like cool, fresher vibe in the city. We're ready for the sun to come back already though, but yeah. I don't feel as hopeful, I think, right now, but I feel confident in how I want to spend my time in the coming like weeks and months.
Yeah, I'm also feeling that everyone feels who lives here and probably in places that are seasonal. It's like, oh shit, like I gotta get out. I gotta get my kayak out. I need to make sure I go camping. I need to make sure I do this. Like the summer is like it's almost July. So that part's always like kind of stressful, and every year it happens to me where I'm like, yeah, it's summer, and also I'm like, oh shit, it's summer. So I'm gonna start right off the bat to broach topics of our classics, relationship, and this one's a bit more expansive, as you know we talked about. What do you think relationships would look like if we start to live significantly longer? Like, for example, 150 years old. Like, what do you think will happen to the dynamics of relationships in your viewpoint once we start like really living longer lives on Earth?
Actually, I mean, the first two things came to mind, but the first thing came to mind is like, it actually may require, and I'm thinking more in like sort of like the material and earthly sense, like it may require a rewriting of like, I don't know, our idea of marriage or like contracts. Like maybe you have multiple contracts with people type of thing.
Oh shit.
And you have like, and you have like more specific and nuanced language for each like, relationship with different people. But then I'm also implying that the length turns into this like exploration of polyamory, because that was the other thing that comes to mind. Is I think in the past, like how different relationships were if you weren't gonna live past 35 or 40, right? Like already we're experiencing like, this notion of like, oh, you get married young and like you're the most fertile and whatever, you're the best, blah, and then you want to get married ideally for life, and that's now, 80, 85.
And that's a long time still. If you're living to 80, 85 or longer, it's still...
Yeah.
And in like North America and in I don't know what the terminology is, I don't like the word first world, but like in more developed countries, people are getting married later still.
Yeah.
Like, they're not having kids at 16 to 20, they're not having kids even 20 to 25, even that's happening.
Yeah, like I think about my grandparents, they were married for like, I think they hit 60 years or so, and then even more, and I'm like, I don't, I can't even hit that now.
Yeah,
like it's too late for me to hit that mark, unless my lifespan is going to be meaningfully extended.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keyword meaningfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about contractual elements, but that's a really good point. I think about the lifespan of feeling and how feeling evolves in the short amount of time I've even had a relationship. Like I had a 6-year relationship, which was a long time for me. And I know people who've been in like 8 years, 12 years. And at those usually become quite functional. Like you're a team, you do love each other, but the love has changed. It's more of like we take care of each other. Right. But like just think of like the lifespan of like our grandparents doing like a 60-year marriage.
Yeah.
what's a 100-year marriage? When people stand there and give those vows, feeling-wise, of like, I feel this for you right now, and I want to be there for your life and through all your hardships. Well, how many hardships are going to come in a 100-year marriage? You know what I mean? Like, and that's getting married at 50.
Yeah. It's also like the hardships are changing.
Yeah.
And changing fast.
Yeah.
And becoming more unpredictable. Like, you know, again, not to go back to the materialness of it, but it's like moving forward, it's like, you know, will any of us have like properties to have, you know, things like that, like our
A house to
parents and
retire in.
grandparents. Yeah, it was like said the escalation or the natural progression of relationship was like, oh, you get together and then like, maybe you think about getting married and then you probably buy a house and then you like fill it with people, and kids and everything.
You have your
and
cars parked in the garage.
maybe you buy a vacation home, and
Yeah.
you know, and then it branches out. But like those branches are all kind of coming back in on themselves now, right?
And if you're living longer and healthier, your kids will grow up and kind of look like you.
Yeah.
Like you won't, if we're extending it, it's probably going to stop the actual aging process a
yeah.
bit. So like your kids will get to your age and kind of stay around that age. Like,
Yeah.
think of that. Like we're all at the vacation home, we're with grandma and grandpa, and they're, you know, they're still getting their fuck on, and they're still like looking good. You know, that's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think about the socioeconomics of it, of like shared bank accounts and shared this. Like, it feels like there would be more when that first started. If we just started to live up to 150 years, like within the next decade, I think there'd be a lot of like, oh, we have shared accounts, we have this. There'd be a lot of like financial issues. Like if you didn't get a prenup, like people would be like, oh, I'm bored of this and I want to cheat, or I want to do this, I want to do that. Like I feel like there'd be like a really abrasive portion for this transfer into like, okay, well, let's think of new paradigms of thought. And like maybe the new age would be like you have multiple marriages and multiple kid flourishes.
Yeah.
Like it's really interesting to think of how culture itself would shift, not just because you're living long and having your own personal, you know?
Yeah, because I'm even trying to think of like, let's say, 150 years ago, the math is bad, 1927, so pre-1900s, and you're like, oh, what was marriage like then? Like, what are we already looking back on being like, that's archaic, or like, that's kind of fucking weird, like.
Yeah, you had a bath once a week.
So like, also the culture might shift, and as things are like, you know, accelerating towards that, for lack of a better term, like singularity.
Yeah.
It's like cultural attitudes about things might shift, and they might look back at today and be like, that's weird. You got a prenup? Like, you got prenups?
Oh,
like
man.
that notion could totally change too. Like,
well, because they weren't, you know, also, unfortunately, in that time, women couldn't enforce a like,
right? Yeah.
They'd be like, I'm gonna take your shit. They'd be like, they do, you know, they're
yeah, fucking right.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it was a different time, unfortunately, and so now, like, we actually have a lot of equity and equality, and like moving towards like the equality of human beings, and so there's a lot more to think about than just like, oh, this is gonna be comfortable for the few years before I get Lyme disease and just die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like we are quite healthy in our age now.
Yes.
We're not, you know, we don't have like, well, I mean, we still got Parkinson's and cancers and all that bullshit, but like for the most part, most people live quite healthy until their moment's up, and quite mobile.
Yeah.
So, you know, like we were dying before 40. So that's why you were having kids young and like going, because you were just like, get it all in before you roll, you know?
And there's a practical element, like you needed the help if you had a farm and this and that.
Yes.
And, like,
you needed the hands.
Needed the hands.
You needed the kids to be like,
kind of
5 years old, shoveling hay.
Double-edged, because then you had to feed another mouth and pay for all that, but you also needed the help. And whereas now in like a 800 square foot apartment, like
what are you gardening? What are you growing for yourself?
Even if you live in a one-bedroom apartment with your partner and like you think about putting a kid in there, you're like, oh shit, like are we gonna sleep in the living room?
Yeah, are we gonna put them in the cupboard?
Yeah.
You know, like where are you gonna put them? Like we gotta get a bigger place, but then you gotta get out of the city to get a bigger place. It's like, it is,
Yeah, so like many dynamics are changing and coming at it from all.
You know what a little side note to this question is what I really thought about when I think about that question? I also think about people achieving mastery. What does mastery look like when you can practice Bushido sword fighting for 150 years, or, you know, meditation, or like imagine all the masteries that would amplify, like a pianist who can write, say, have a 100-year career of like playing and writing healthily, like the amount of art that would just go poof,
Yeah.
Like we would create some master works and architecture too. Like let's build something that takes 80 years to build. Because
Yeah.
we're alive that long enough to like witness it grow. Imagine the like Hanging Gardens of Babylon coming to
Yeah.
life. My God.
I mean, I suppose, and well, in a weird way, it's not as like impressive. I mean, it's somewhat impressive, but the Hoover Dam, like, still drying. So would you say it's
Yeah.
still under construction or like unfinished type thing? Like, I know that's like a cheeky little workaround, but
Yeah.
when no one's looking at the Hoover Dam, like, oh, I'm gonna come and like pray to the gods here. But
True.
it's a pretty impressive like
It is.
feat of architecture. And when you read about how they build it, because they were like, oh, we have to worry about it setting fast or falling apart, and like the center of it is still setting and drying. You know, it's fucking. It
That's
still blows my
insane.
mind thinking that. Yeah, I'm like, huh?
And then there was that feat in China. I can't remember the name of the dam, but there was a big debacle about it because it changed the migration patterns of a certain type of dolphin.
Oh yeah.
And I think they blocked like the Yangtze River, like 3 major rivers, and it's the largest dam ever constructed, and it's like a whole valley. Like it's just so China to do that, but like it is a feat of human construction to
Yeah.
do that, and it did help the places around, and
Yeah.
they are the greater good mindset of like, well, we helped all these villages. I guess those dolphins will have to figure shit out, but we helped the people. So like,
Time for some dolphin soup.
yeah, like
I mean, yeah, it's just sad that our projects are like
know.
infrastructure. It's not
know.
like temples and,
know.
and monuments and stuff like that. And
yeah, we don't. I think that. I mean, we're jumping topics now, but I think that the age of contemporariness is kind of a plague on what makes humans human, because I believe that contemporary art, when it came in, was like a fashion sense, and it actually simplified everything to the point where it took away the personality of things. Like if you look at architecture from early 1900s, or architecture from the 1400s, or architecture from 1000 AD, it all had like a significantly potent character that would be like, ooh, look at the way they did the arches, or that they had gargoyles on things, or they had, you know, whereas everything's just like flat now. Like we don't build temples for prayer because we're like, well, it's the bottom line. We're in the bottom line era of like, oh, well, we need to make this place functional so we can fit this many units and sell this many. But like, because what if we start living 150 years? You think those buildings are gonna last? They're not. Things aren't built to last. Like the fucking pyramids that are however many thousands of years old.
yeah.
Well, actually, this is a great little jump to my next one. Is if you could create an ideal world, as in like from this moment on, you could create an ideal world. Would you limit the population, or would you let it grow without control, having faith that we would make things with equity and like balance? Or if you had the switch to be like, nope, I can control how many people will flourish.
I think I would let it go.
Yeah.
I don't think I would control it. And I feel like this comes from having read like enough like sci-fi and fiction, and these topics do come up a lot, like population, this and that. Actually, it's part of one of the books I'm reading now. And I think it's like, if it's still in this form of human iteration, there will always be a level, a kernel of curiosity that someone will begin to wonder about, and someone will begin to dig, and someone will begin to ask questions, be like, why is the population limited? And like, you know, obviously that's different, the different story. Like, I don't know if I'm the overlord or someone else or whatever, but I think it would just create this mystery that would create a type of chaos in the society, because someone would want to find the answer to that. And then in my own experience, I just feel like, you know, if I was the overlord making the choice, I'd be like, I'll just let the experiment run wild. As is perhaps maybe happening right now. Like,
Experiment is running wild,
yeah.
for sure.
And instead of enacting like that control to keep it, I don't know, perfect and ideal, I would just be like, I'll just let it fucking morph and change and do its thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that because I know in a lot of discussions with like friends and even new people in life, I ask them like, oh, what do you think about the world? Like everyone seems to have a really strong idea of what they think is the right way forward. And they're like, oh, but we're stuck on this and Trump and blah. Like everyone has like an extreme thing that they really believe. And I have kind of sat back and been like, I don't really have an extreme like disposition towards anyone. I just kind of look at the world and go, you know what else is true right now? is we've never had more outlets of media telling us what's happening in the world ever in human history than right now. So I don't think the world is worse. I don't think the world is more chaotic. I think we just have access to more outlets of media that tell us what's happening. Oh, there's a volcano here and an earthquake here, and this dictatorship's doing this thing. But also there's many beautiful things happening. Like, oh, in China, they're repopulating the entire border of Mongolia with trees to stop desertification and actually push growth. So like there's always good things happening too. And I think because media is also now biased with advertising and companies and opinions, we get stuck in these channels where they're like, I know what's right for humanity. I would limit humanity, and I would let Americans make any decisions, or I would
Well, I guess that's the thing, is like now we're often thinking of like the world, whereas before, without the media, you were thinking of your world. Like, kind of that thing of that notion of like, oh, is it even happening until you perceive it, until you read it online, and until you start thinking about it? Like, like that's an interesting idea to play with. But yeah, it's that idea that I don't know yet if our consciousness can like link those things and make the connection between that like far external world of what's happening across the globe or across whatever,
and still be present.
It's just, so it is taking it all in, and then it makes it real because you perceive it, but it's like kind of outside of you and far away that you're not immediately enacting on it. But that also kind of overlaps with one of the questions I had, that was like, what, to get more specific, like what do you think our relationship to this planet is? Like to this one that we're on, as we sort of even begin to start looking out at.
My personal opinion?
Yeah.
On what? I think there is a symbiosis to humans on the planet, kind of akin to like a metaphor. If you think about like the bacteria on your body, on your skin, you are more bacteria than you are anything else. So you aren't just Alex, the flesh puppet that's all you created. You're also all these bacteria that are working together to make this form resilient, strong. Like think of all the viruses and things going through you every moment of every day that your body's killing and fighting and accepting.
It's like a microscopic war.
Yes, all the time. We are at war pretty much all of human history. So I think I think about it in that way, in a metaphorical way, that there is a symbiosis, and yes, there's conflict and war, but there's also peace and love and inspiration. It's everything in a big mix going like this. So our symbiosis with the planet, when in balance, which I don't think we ever attain a state of balance, I think we flux through it, is for creation, to create. That is one thing I can look at humans in all of history and go, yeah, we've been war and killing and fucking and doing all this, but we have created nonstop. And we create from war, and we create from love, and we create from death. Yeah. Like we're always, our literal bodies are built to take a CPU chipboard and go like beep 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 and like put things together, or like take brick and mortar and build a building, or to like tenderly pet someone, or to pick up an animal and pet it. Like we're meant to create, and the greater experience of humanity and what we're here for. I don't know if I can answer that, but I think when it comes back to it, my interpretation of what we're here for is to create, and create until you can't anymore. And then when you leave, the memory of you and what civilization or the earth, because everyone thinks about how humans will remember you, but what about how the earth remembers you? What if the earth is a life form and it knows the bacteria on itself, and we're the bacteria on the skin, and like, oh, there was the bacteria that was creating and fighting for me. Yeah. The one that was like coming out and loving the river and loving the animals and loving the trees and the people.
I think about it all the time on the spots I go to regularly and the trees I stare at forever. I'm like, I wonder if they like see me too, or like remember me coming here and hanging out, and,
It's highly likely that this, like we have a nervous system that interprets things unconsciously for us, and sometimes consciously. I'm sure forests, like we know mycelial networks that go under the forest and the plants, there has to be some sort of interpretation of our presence. Yeah. they do react to animals.
Or like
Of course they
even
would react.
sometimes, like if someone touches you from behind, sometimes you know when it's your friend or something. You're just like, oh, I know that's a familiar.
And like, how do you know? Explain that knowing.
Yeah.
You can't. You're just like, I just know. But like, it's because your nervous system is has a way better interpretation system than your actual conscious knowing of things. So maybe the forest is like that, and maybe it's even more sensitive. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know if that really answered your question, but I think
it
it's a
does.
high concept answer to answer because it's such a vast
Yeah, I mean,
feat to understand that.
kind of overlaps with something that I've been thinking about a lot too, which again, in relation to like books and sci-fi that I read, and it's similar to that in that I think our relationship to this planet kind of mimics nature in that like we're sort of like devouring our mother. And she's letting us do it to an extent. And sometimes she stops us. That could be made in like natural disasters and like, I think sometimes she like evens out the playing field and could very readily like wipe the playing field if she wanted to.
Yep.
So I think that we're like at the like universally perfect rate consuming our mother to make us ready for the next place, leap, technological shift. I don't know.
It does feel like we're in this like liminal state of ready to like what's the next thing.
Yeah.
Where people are like AI. I'm like, no, I don't think it's AI. I think we're on the precipice of something else.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like technology is as future as I thought it would be with where we're at now. I felt like we'd be further. It feels like something's also kind of holding us, whether it's people or Earth, I don't know, whatever it is, it's kind of keeping us around this edge, and it feels like we're just living in this edge, and it feels hard to plan for the future, because I'm like, what's this edge going to be?
Yeah.
Will you be able to have a family? Will like, what's going to be viable in this new way of living, a new way of being? Like we said, like the life extension. Imagine that tomorrow, you can live 150 years now. Yeah. Everything would just go boom, because it would shake the foundation of what you believe is possible in life. And what you're already doing.
Yeah.
So
and it would change the narratives around maybe even like certain ages, like what's an adult now? What's a teenager now?
Yeah.
Like is 1 to 30 childhood?
What was that book?
30 to...
Remember they live a certain amount of time in this phase, and then they live a certain amount of time in this phase. Oh no, it's Last and First Men, the film.
Oh yeah.
Remember? They're they're in their early phase where they live 100 years on this planet, and they fight and fuck and love, and then they wise up, and then for the next 200 years they live in this way, because people lived for 1,000 years.
I mean, also literally what you're saying, the book I'm reading now, the population of humanity is set at 1 million. Or so the protagonists believe. They're like, why 1 million? What? And they're starting to kind of wonder. They're like, why no more? Why no less? And then everyone lives 100 years, but they call it, they're like, oh, once you're in after your fifth 20, then you go up to the rings.
What's the book called?
Ilium.
Ilium.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. It's
the rings. Yeah, I love high concept thinking.
And then we join the post-humans, and now that they're at the point in the book where they're starting to like question and start to uncover things, and they bumped into like a really old person, and they're like, wrinkles? Like, what are wrinkles?
What's
like,
really old in this way of being?
I mean, I think she spent some time in some like cryogenic fugue state. So thousands of years? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hundreds? Yeah, I remember.
But the population is 1 million, but people live crazy long.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's like a weird mix of like, there's, again, it's like future elements in terms of like, oh, they have these like casting networks, and they have these, like spaceships and stuff like that, and robots and servants in this, but then they also like are somewhat primitive. It's interesting. The world that's painted, he's kind of vague about it. Like the author's a little bit vague, but it's the same author as Hyperion. Just a different.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
So it's good writing then. It makes me think of like right now we've kind of hit this level of technology where we're like, oh, we have crazy computers and crazy things in space and all this, but we're kind of trying to go back. A lot of population is like, hey, there was value in being more primitive. There was value in like touching a garden. There was value in having less input, whether it's your phone or people, in your day to like just be at peace. So it's interesting that with our physiology and the way we're built, I don't know, like we can always evolve, and we have evolved. Like we are cyborgs. If you don't know yet, you're a cyborg. Your phone makes you smarter, period. You have access to more information and more of the wealth of human knowledge with your cyborg phone. But I also think like a lot of people get gassed, and a lot of people hit a wall, and a lot of people are like crashing, and they're going, oh shit, I need to go back to a bit more simplicity. And so I think in like that techno future, there is something to be said about it being high tech and also high primality, and somehow combining those elements to find that balance, that like synergy. Because if you're just all tech, then you're away from what it is to be human and be connected to yourself, the planet, people.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to live in the like, where are we going next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Which is untenable in the long term, I think, for your nervous system anyway.
I mean, on that note, do you think it will be better as we like become truer cyborgs and embed the technology within us? Like, will we be able to turn it off?
Well, here's
like
the thing.
We have a phone, we can be like, oh, I can toss my phone across the room, or just like turn it off at least.
What is Elon's
Neuralink?
Neuralink.
Yeah.
So Neuralink is to help people who are going to have spine issues. Like say you can't use your legs. It's going to allow you to use your legs or use your arms again, whatever. Well, that's where it's going to start.
Right.
And then it's like, well, I want to jump higher. I want to run faster. I want to see further. I want to hear better. I want to live longer. That's what I think it's going to go. Will it make us better? I don't know. I think there's going to be a wave, and I think people are going to at first be like, there's going to be the humanists who are like, no, we're raw, and we just do the human thing, and we live off grid, and like, we're human. And then there's going to be the techno drones who are just like, I've got like, like all the things to like jump, but then what?
Right.
Okay, you have all those things. Now what? What are you going to do with that? Now you're all the best at everything. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
That's the question that I think a lot of those people wouldn't think about until they arrive there and go like, okay, well now what? Then maybe there's that retro like, okay, now we are hyper techno, now we're going to come all the way back.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be this cycle of trying to learn and understand, because if it's going to be athletics, everyone's going to need that, just like steroids now. Like a lot of athletes have to do like blood doping and stuff to like keep up with the level. So if the level is now you getting a chip that makes you run faster or breathe longer or hold your breath longer or whatever, or have a better VO2 max, you know what I mean, to do athletics, like people are going to do it because they're going to want the edge. But at what point do you hit, you know what I mean? Like there's layers of, here's the thing. This is going to wind all the way back to a different topic of like, what is consciousness? What is the purpose of living a good human life? What is the purpose of our connection with ourselves and the earth and people here? I feel like in going to that wall and hitting the wall, we always get knocked back to like, oh yeah, what is valuable here? So I think, will it make us better? I'm not sure if it'll make us better. It'll make us reflect more on what it is to be human, I think.
I mean, that kind of even explains technological advances sometimes. It's like we go so far and then we're like, how do we kill people with this? How do we make war? And then out of that, it falls back and settles, and we get all the like tech that actually runs our life and runs our world.
And like, some wisdom where we're like
my friend was telling me the other day about how like what is it in film the like the main dolly that people use, he's like, yeah, that was World War II tech. And then he's like, it was to like load bombs and ammunition, and then when you don't need to do that anymore, you're like, I guess we can film shit.
Or the the microwave you use to cook food.
Like
we created a microwave bomb that flash fries people. Hey, we can make this smaller and cook a chicken. Like, it's really fucked how much military technology becomes our daily niceties.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I always do think like, oh, what's the future version of that? What are we going to get in the future? Like, obviously I don't want it to be war and like lasers and shit, but maybe we're going to have space lasers that, you know, do some really cool innovation for us, that maybe it like explores space in a different way or scans the sky or, you know, I really don't know. I am stoked though for space exploration. As you know, I'm a huge space advocate, and what I think it's 2028, the mission, the manned mission to the moon again.
Okay. I didn't know.
So that, you know, just this year we sent 4 people around the dark side of the moon.
Yep.
First woman, first black person ever to go out into space, but also furthest humans away from Earth.
Yeah.
So that was the mission, to see if it was possible to do the circle. They did it, and now humans going back. I think not just in war bringing technology trickling down to us. I think in this exploration to build a moon base and put us there.
Yeah.
I think this is also going to be a part of this wall we're talking about in this liminal space. That's going to expand us to start being space, not spacefaring, space living beings.
Yeah.
There's going to be dudes here like, fuck Earth, I'm done with it. I want to go live on the moon.
Sure.
I want to be a lunar human. That's going to be
Yeah.
very interesting to see how that impacts, like that impact trickles down
Yeah.
to how we live here and how many people are here.
Yeah.
You know, maybe population here will, I mean, it already is stabilizing. We know this. Not as many people are having kids, but when we start having, you know, what's the show with like Belters and Martians, people living on Mars? Like,
Oh yeah. I can't remember.
oh God, I'm gonna post it up here somewhere. This is a good show. I can't think about the name right now, but yeah, I think about that and like, how is all that technology going to trickle down? And once we start like splitting up.
And then if the population stables and maybe we get better at like, you know, what resources we're taking, like, will wildlife come back? Will it change? Will that also evolve and adapt in a different way? Or like, will new species form? Because they'll be like, oh, we have more space to hang out. And, you know?
Will another natural disaster happen? Like, you know, Vesuvius blew up during the Roman time. Like, that changed the world for a decade, you know? Like, that soot in the air changes what can grow and how many people can live. Like, there's just so many unpredictable factors to things that can happen. It's just like, I've never felt more in my body, live in the now, than right this moment. I'm like, I really can't, I'm not going to invest in this and invest in that and prepare for retirement, because the world has never been like that, but now it's more clear than ever we aren't going to have that in our future. There's a lot of unpredictable ways that it could just spark. It's like, just take care of yourself, take care of your people, live cleanly, live justly, love yourself, love people.
And with the notions of population changing and this talk about age that we're having, it's like, we do have a lot of old people that still are like, you know, not to get too into the topic of like the evil they or whatever, but it's like, that are maybe pulling the strings, that are key holders in society. And it's like, will those people die off? Like, will they keep extending their life?
Some of these old motherfuckers,
but some of them also were really, I imagine some way, were really like smart and canny and business savvy. And it's like, the hard times that they came up in maybe made them this successful in a way, but it's like, I don't know if them passing it off to their like pampered children will go so well. Like, I don't, you know.
Has that ever gone well?
Yeah, we've seen that in stories of kings who are like, oh, I worked so hard to get this, and then my son took over, and it just like, bam.
Yeah.
And like,
and they started a bunch of wars to
exactly.
feel something,
yeah,
you know. So,
I wonder if that, or if we're already feeling some of that type of thing, or.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
If you have ideas, comment or just ignore us. Either way, we're there. We're at the end of a discussion.
Oh yeah,
a natural end of the discussion.
That was good.
The powers. Shake my fist at the clouds. Thanks for joining. Tune in whenever the hell we feel like making another one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Skillet.
we're sort of like devouring our mother. And she's letting us do it to an extent. And sometimes she stops us. That could be made in like natural disasters, and like, you know, I think sometimes she like evens out the playing field and could very readily like wipe the playing field if she wanted to.
Yep.
So I think that we're like at the like universally perfect rate consuming our mother to make us ready for the next place, leap, technological shift. I don't know. Now, right?
And if you're living longer and healthier, your kids will grow up and kind of look like you.
Yeah.
Like you won't, if we're extending it, it's probably going to stop the actual aging process a
yeah.
bit. So like your kids will get to your age and kind of stay around that age. Like,
Yeah.
think of that. Like we're all at the vacation home, we're with grandma and grandpa, and they're, you know, they're still getting their fuck on. And they're still like looking good. You know, that's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah.